Hello and welcome to the USA Volleyball Show, the official podcast of USA Volleyball. My name is Stephen Munson, of course, joined by my co-host, Clarence Hughes. Clarence, how are you doing today?
I'm good, but a little disappointed. I thought you were going to go longer. It sounded like you were going to go longer, and you just, you dipped early, You gave up on the play. I don't know what happened there, man.
Yeah, I've had a lot of coffee this morning. My voice isn't quite there yet. I should have drank more water before this. I did not. And yeah, that's just what you got today.
Okay. Wow. All right. Hey, we heard it here first. That's what we got today, fellas, folks, people, everyone, friend of the pod. But yeah, I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Did you have a good weekend?
Oh yeah, volleyball for the weekend. And I totally forgot I played volleyball this weekend. But yeah, had a tournament up in Denver at the Dive Volleyball facility.
Yep.
That was a lot of fun. Then my 17s, we had a power up in Fort Morgan, which is my first time in Fort Morgan. It's very far from Colorado Springs.
That's a drive. Yep.
Oh yeah.
Awesome. How'd the tournament go?
Tournament went good. We went I think we got like 4th or 5th place. One of those. We got knocked out like in the semifinals. So did pretty good, and then just kind of towards the end, but that's okay. So the adult volleyball is just a bunch of guys in the gym hitting the ball as hard as we could, and
weekend warriors.
I love it. Weekend warriors, I love it. And then from there, just drove up to Fort Morgan the remaining hour and a half, and coached the rest of the weekend. What about you? How's your weekend?
Great weekend. I actually, as you were talking, I was trying to remember what I did, which means I didn't do anything.
That's good. You need some of those weekends, though.
Yeah.
I didn't do anything this weekend. All I did was binge watch Netflix or Hulu or Disney Plus or whatever your preferred streaming service is. We are open to streaming service providers. So just kidding, you guys. But sometimes you eat those weekends. I do.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Yeah, I was definitely catching up on some TV. As you know, Pedro Pascal season. We've got The Last of Us on HBO that just finished up and watched that. And then Mandalorian is back.
Oh, I know. I can't wait. I'm kind of
yeah, was catching up on that as well.
I'm a big Snowfall person. It's the last.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And every episode that's come out, like even from when the first season started a while ago, and I binge watched that, like up until now, this last season, like every episode is just like, oh my god. For those of you who are watching this on YouTube, you'll really get to see that reaction I gave. But it's wild. It's an adult show for sure. So your discretion isn't biased. But
yeah, I've never seen Snowfall. I saw that ad somewhere though of it being the final season. So definitely, I love when a show is in its final season and it's just like you can't get enough of it. You're on the edge of your seat, and every episode just hits you like that.
Mm-hmm. It asks the question though. It's just like, does the show know when to stop, or does it go for too long? I feel like there's never an in between. Yeah.
I feel like usually it goes a little too long, or a show will kind of lose its footing kind of in the middle of their run, and then they like pick it back up towards the end.
Yeah, I feel
like starts off really good, middle few seasons are meh, and then it gets good at the end.
I feel like you just described Ozark, because that's not Ozark.
I never finished Ozark. I got lost in the middle of it.
Oh man. Okay. Cast listen to this. Great show, by the way.
Jason Bateman, don't come back. All right. Let's before we get too lost in the TV show binging talk, let's get into this episode, because we have a great episode for you. But before we talk about our guests coming up, in case you missed it, back in December, we've talked about it a lot. We interviewed several guests at the 2022 ABCA convention. Of those incredible guests, we got to sit down and interview Brooke Rundle of Equality Coaching Alliance and Marie Zidek of DePaul University Women's Volleyball. She's the head coach there. They talk about their backgrounds in volleyball, their involvement in the Equality Coaching Alliance, the work that they're doing to support the LGBTQ plus community, and much, much more. Of course, those are available to listen to now. And you can also watch those at the USA Volleyball YouTube channel. So check those out. And let's keep moving here with news with views.
In case you missed it in episode 60, I'm going to repeat it next in episode 61. The 2023 USA Volleyball Beach National Championship is returning to Fort Lauderdale, Florida, July 18th through the 23rd. Registration is now open on usavbracketpal.com. All questions can be directed to beachevents@usav.org. If you're interested in men's college volleyball, you can check out our website for weekly roundups to stay up to date on results, rankings, key matches, and much, much more. Also, Hall of Fame tickets are now on sale and was taking place on May 24th in Dallas, Texas, right before the Open National Championship. This always takes place in conjunction with USA Volleyball's annual meetings. We have the Hall of Fame banquet in the middle, and then the Open National Championship tournament to round it all up. So if you're looking to attend this year's Hall of Fame banquet, tickets are on sale now. So purchase, buy. More on that and all of the other latest news that USA Volleyball always has to offer. You can check out our website and visit us at usavvolleyball.org.
Now, on to today's show. We were able to catch up with U.S. women's national team libero Morgan Hentz while she was in Colorado Springs at the U.S. women's national team open program a couple weekends back. But we were able to talk to Morgan, catch up with her. She was there representing USA, the USA women's program, talking to athletes about, her experience with the women's program, playing, as well as opportunities to play professionally, and a lot more. Just, being there for the athletes, to observe, obviously, but also to, just talk to the athletes, one-on-one in groups, and just kind of help them understand what it's like, what life is like as a professional athlete. So great to have Morgan there, but we were able to catch up with her and talk about her goals for the upcoming season and so much more. So let's jump right into it. Here's Morgan.
Morgan, thank you so much for being here in Colorado Springs at the U.S. Women's National Team Open program, a program that you've also participated in as well. Is that right?
Well, I was supposed to come participate in 2020, but then, COVID hit.
happened, yeah.
So yeah, it's such a weird time to be graduating from school, but luckily, had a chance to compete in the national team gym, come and showcase some of my abilities. And yeah, but I didn't actually get to attend this tryout, but it's such a cool opportunity for so many college players to come and, show all their great skills off, and I'll probably meet a ton of other really cool college players they play against all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's an awesome opportunity. Have some of the best collegiate players, women's collegiate players, in one place. I think Karch calls it. We've had him on the podcast before. Volleypalooza is what he calls it. But just awesome to have all that talent in one space, and obviously to have you here. We have several Olympians also here. The national team staff is here, so it just feels really cool. And we're at the Paralympic Training Center as well, so it just feels like an awesome experience for these athletes to have.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's a really amazing atmosphere, especially for these aspiring college athletes to take their game to the next level when they're done playing college. So yeah, it's such a cool. It is a Volleypalooza, like Karch said. Yeah, it is. I've seen so many familiar faces and reconnected with so many people. It's really awesome.
Yeah. What are some of the conversations that you're having with some of the old friends, maybe teammates, just athletes maybe you've competed against too? What are some of those conversations you're having around this event?
Yeah, some have been in regard to what they're doing in colleges. I have some friends that are now coaching in college, and then a couple that are still playing and pursuing their volleyball career professionally. And then just actually catching up with a couple girls that are still in college. Some of my best friends at Stanford, their names are Michaela and Caitlin Keefe, and they have a younger sister.
Oh, cool.
And she plays at Duke, so I got to see her, talk with her. She's like, this is such an awesome event. And not only for them to, showcase their abilities, but just learn about USA Volleyball. And we just had an awesome talk with some of the professional leagues that are getting started here in the U.S. So it's just a really cool event for just volleyball in America.
Yeah, and kind of perfect transition there, talking about those pro leagues. You also did a Q&A too, as part of that after the pro league sessions. But what were some of the? I know you kind of talked about your background with the athletes that were there in attendance, and fielded questions about playing professionally. Mm-hmm. What were some of those questions and topics that came up, and how were you able to like kind of guide the athletes through that?
Yeah. So one of the first questions was like, what's your origin story with volleyball? And mine was just that I started playing in 3rd grade. I was a bit of a monkey, as my parents would say, and they just tried to put me in as many sports as possible to, tire me out.
Tire you out, yeah.
And then like 6th grade rolls around, and my best friends at the time, they were triplets, love them to death to this day. And they're like, you got to give club volleyball a try. And I was like, okay, well, if you guys are doing it, then I'm going to do it. And a lot of my other friends were also playing club volleyball, and just being around them, and volleyball is such an epitome of a team sport. I really fell in love with the sport, especially the defensive side of the game. But yeah, that's what kept me playing, the relationships and friendships that I've made throughout the sport of volleyball. And then some of the other questions that athletes were asking were, what was it like to play overseas, or what was that transition like from being in college to playing professionally? So for me, coming out of college, it was 2020, COVID. I played my first year overseas in Germany. And it was such a weird time in the world. I mean, everyone has their crazy COVID stories. And for me, it was just apartment gym, flipping back and forth, and then going to the grocery store for fun with teammates.
I love when you brought that up. That was hilarious.
It was like, we were like, well, what do we do? It was a nice day outside. We went to the grocery store, grabbed like some fruit or like just like fruit snacks, and sat outside.
Just walk around.
Sat outside the grocery store and hung out. But we were talking about like in that transition from college to professional. Like in college, you have your academics, and you have like a very, strict schedule with volleyball. And then when you're on your own, it's just volleyball now. And so Jordan Poulter and I talked a little bit about trying to lead that balanced lifestyle and finding some of those hobbies that maybe you didn't have time to pursue while you were in college. But it can be a really difficult transition at first. You're all on your own in a new country, probably where you don't speak the country's first language.
Right.
And luckily, when I was in Germany, all the players on my team spoke English as a second language really well. So that definitely made me feel more comfortable. But I know that's not the case for girls that go and play in different countries. So those were a couple of the questions that some of the girls asked.
One of the hobbies that you brought up that I thought was funny was knitting. How did that go? And why did you want to start? Did you have a family member who knits, or?
So it was during COVID. I was so bored. I think at one point I was watching so much of this reality TV show. It's called Love Island. It's the British
Heard of
version.
It. I haven't seen it.
And I was like, oh my gosh, I need to stop watching this. I'm starting to talk in a British accent. Like, this is not good. I need to occupy my brain with doing something a little more productive. So I was like, okay, I liked making friendship bracelets as a kid. Maybe I'll like knitting. And it was a little more complicated than the friendship bracelets. So that wasn't for me. But I ended up finding, I really dove into some books. I didn't really have that time in college to, just pick up a book and read for fun. It was mostly like reading the material that college professors would put out. And I was like, I don't want to read any more than what I have on my plate. I took up some reading. I love Spotify, creating playlists on Spotify, trying to find new music. It's super fun. It was really hard at first trying to figure out those other hobbies, because it was just always volleyball at school and volleyball in school. So
that's kind of fun though, to explore, get the time, you said in college, you had that strict schedule, but being a professional, you had a little bit more time, especially in those COVID years when you had a little bit more time to maybe, outside of going to the grocery store, find a new hobby to do. But that's I would imagine that's a really cool space to be in though.
Yeah, I feel like I learned a lot about myself. I've never had that much time alone. I think at one point I was talking to myself a little bit too much in my apartment. But it's a great time to, really get to know yourself and figure out what you like and what you dislike.
Yeah. Staying with professional volleyball, you played in Athletes Unlimited. Could you speak a little bit about your experience with AU? And then we also had Real Pro Volleyball here and Love League One Volleyball here. Maybe some conversations that you've had with them just about their leagues that are starting up in 2024.
Yeah, so I had the opportunity to play in Athletes Unlimited last year around March and April of 2022. And I absolutely loved my experience with them. I was really nervous at first just because of the league's unique format, where your team's changing from week to week. Your stats correlate to points, and it puts you on a leaderboard. And I was like, what if I get caught up in that? And none of those things actually happened. At the end of the day, it was just playing volleyball, and with a really unique group of strong women too. Like it was, AU did a wonderful job of creating opportunities for us to really get to know each other off the court. So it was easier for us to communicate on the court when we were interchanging so many people. And it was such a freeing way to play volleyball. I've never played it that way. You've always been with a team for multiple months. And so to just have a team for a week, like it was such a unique way to play, but really fun. It was such a great group of women it really inspired me, not just on the court, but off the court. Some of them had some really cool hobbies or other pursuits in their life. It was just fun to hear about. And yeah, I absolutely loved my time with AU and look forward to continuing with them in the future. And then now we have Love and Pro Volleyball Federation getting started here within 2024. So it's just such an exciting time for professional volleyball in the U.S. And it gives college players that opportunity to stay here in the U.S. to play if that's something they want to do versus traveling to go somewhere abroad to play. I know for me, I figured out that I definitely prefer being in the U.S., closer to family and friends, and eventually volleyball will come to an end and I have to pivot, and I know that I want to make that pivot in a different career in the U.S. So it just helps me lay the foundation for a life here.
Yeah. I remembered in your Q&A, you talked a little bit about that, touched on that as you came to that decision of staying in the U.S. and being close to family. What led you to that decision, and what were kind of the pros and cons that you were weighing versus like going overseas or playing professional volleyball?
Yeah. So after playing in Germany, like the summer of 2021, I had a knee injury. And so that really prevented me from pursuing volleyball overseas. I had to stay home and recover, but I also didn't get to play much in Germany my first year. Like I was the backup libero, and I didn't have any offers actually to play anywhere. So Athletes Unlimited gave me that opportunity to stay here and play in the U.S. So that was one big factor. Another thing was I just started to not feel like myself. Yeah. My family's been my rock throughout my whole life. I'm really close with them, and they've been there for me in my ups and downs in volleyball. I'm sure my parents are sick and tired of me calling and be like, I don't know what I'm doing with volleyball. But they've always, they know the script to tell me to get me back on track. And just to be able to see them for holidays is something that makes my heart feel full and makes me feel like I can continue to pursue volleyball at the highest level.
Yeah, and I think that's a big part of the excitement with these pro leagues coming up and starting soon is before the only option after college was to go play overseas. Mm-hmm. And I mean, you're there, 7-8 months out of the year, maybe longer?
Sometimes 9 months, especially for girls on elite teams that compete in Champions League, and they go second week in May. It can be really long.
Yeah, and I think Cassidy Lickman brought it up. That's for some people. Some people love that and love to travel and are okay being away from family at that time. And but for other people like yourself, you need your family close to you. And I think it's so important. This is a great time for these leagues to come up because volleyball is only growing more and more, and we need places for these women to play, and to keep them in the U.S. where they're close to family is just an awesome opportunity for them.
Yeah, I mean, the college game has grown so much, and the viewership, whether it's not just the national championship event, which already, does get a ton of viewers, it's games and people selling out crowds now. It's just been so fun to follow along. And like you said, now players will just have that option to go overseas if that's something they want to pursue, or stay in the U.S. And I think it's cool to have the option to stay in the U.S. because they can already build upon a following that they've already created in college. I know, for example, players in Nebraska, oh my gosh, they have one of the best fan bases for volleyball in the country. Yep. And now for Pro Volleyball Federation, there's going to be a team in Omaha. How cool would it be for some of those players to make that jump from playing at Nebraska to playing for the professional league or professional team in Omaha for PVF? They would already bring all those Nebraska fans over with them. So I just think that's something that could be really cool for the future of volleyball in the U.S.
Yeah, I can only imagine the GBR, the Nebraska fans are just so stoked to
Yes.
have professional volleyball coming in 2024.
Yeah.
I bet they're already in line for tickets probably.
Yeah, I think Cecile said they like some of the like people in Nebraska were already asking, where can we get tickets?
Yeah.
So like they were already asking.
Already camping
like,
out
oh
in
my
parking
gosh.
lots or something.
Yeah. They're ready to jump on it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, really exciting time for volleyball and professional volleyball as well. Moving back a little bit to college, you're a 3-time national champion with Stanford. Can you talk a little bit about your college experience? What were some of the highs that you had at Stanford and being a part of such a prestigious program like Stanford, especially during that time?
Yeah, my time at Stanford is like some of the best memories I've had in life so far, and that's all attributed to the teammates that I had in college. I was so lucky to come in with a wonderful class. There were 6 of us, and we all came from very similar backgrounds, and we just immediately connected, and they were my best friends throughout all of college, and they are to this day. But even the girls above me and below me, the culture that has just been instilled in the program is something so special to be a part of. And I love that no matter what your goals are at Stanford, because they might be more volleyball related or academic related, everyone just wants to see you succeed and is going to help you do that in any way possible, whether it's coming from support staff or it's coming from teammates. My teammates became my second family. Kentucky and California, there's some miles in between there.
Yeah.
So being able to rely on my teammates through those tough times and good times, and I really needed that support throughout college. And my fondest memories aren't necessarily like on the court or like winning matches. It's more about like the locker room memories, people goofing off, playing funky music, or the bus rides where we were probably being a little bit too obnoxious in public. But just really connecting and creating these strong bonds with some wonderful women.
Are you still involved with the program at all? Do you like reach out to any athletes that come through or visit the campus at all?
No, oh my gosh, I love watching the games. It was super fun to follow along this past year. And Kevin Hambley's still the coach there, and I had the opportunity to be coached by him for 3 seasons. But yeah, anytime Stanford's on, I'm rooting for them. Like we have so many sports at Stanford, which was one really fun thing. Like growing up, I never got to watch water polo, just not popular in my area. And like coming to California, being able to watch that sport, I was like, this is a gnarly sport. And it was so cool to see some of those athletes compete. But anytime Stanford's on, my family is like, let's watch. So I feel it's special to be a part of that Stanford community.
That's awesome. Going back to your early days in volleyball, you said you started in 3rd grade. Did you play club volleyball at all? And what club did you play for?
Yeah, I played club volleyball at NKYVC.
Yep.
It just stands for Northern Kentucky Volleyball Club. And I started in 6th grade there, so when I was about 12 years old, and I stayed at that club until I was 18 years old and ready to be sent off to college. But I played with many of the girls from year after year, and I loved my experience. At NKYVC, I had some of the best coaches I've ever had, instilled the foundation of volleyball or skills for volleyball in me, and just I love that they emphasize heart always, like just playing with heart. That all-out effort mentality is something that I learned at the club, and all my teammates. I think we were always a little bit like undersized, or we would consider ourselves a little bit more of an underdog team, but we really embraced that role. And one of my friends' dad says, play like an underdog with the confidence of a champion. And I felt like that was like the perfect phrase for our club teams growing up. And I think we did it. It was always fun. We always had a blast, like upsetting teams if we weren't supposed to win. It was really fun.
Hope some of the volley dads made T-shirts from that phrase. That would have been perfect.
It would have been a great phrase. They still have a volleyball like dad's group message to this day.
That's so cool.
And they still talk about all the college games that are going on, and even they're now have an interest in the professional side of volleyball too, with the league's getting started here. So it's been really exciting.
That's one of my favorite parts about going to junior qualifiers or even our USAB nationals is seeing the volley dads and how into it they get.
They really do.
I mean, a lot of them are just like big guys, maybe played football or something.
Yeah.
I don't know, basketball, and they just get so into it.
They have their all the cameras set
All the cameras set
Oh my
up,
gosh.
maybe matching T-shirts.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's awesome to see how into it they are. I know my dad is. he has transformed into a volleyball dad. At first, he was like, I don't know why you're picking volleyball. I don't really understand the appeal of it. But then after one season, he's like, all right, we're all in. Like he
starts thinking up strategies and stuff and talking the lingo.
Debriefing with me after a club match. So my dad's like my go-to when I'm having a tough day, and he definitely helps me get through those tough times when it comes to volleyball. So he knows what to say. He's a smart volleyball dad.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, kind of going off that a little bit. Who were some of your role models growing up and even now moving into competing with the national team? Yeah,
I would say my parents are really my biggest role models, and I know that can sound cliche, and I know that's an answer for many people, but just growing up, I felt like they always put me and my siblings first and gave us opportunities, to pursue our dreams and our goals. And that wasn't always easy. My younger brother, his name's Louis, he had cancer at the age of 1, and they had to move around the country a little bit to pursue healthcare options for him. But they never made my sister or I feel like, I don't know, they still provided us with this amazing childhood. And not once did I ever see them defeated, or they didn't let us know that they were struggling, which is so hard to do. And they could have done so many times. But they're just the strongest people I know. And they've taught me what it means to be a family and what it means to sacrifice and, give it all you have to the people that you love.
We can completely cut this out, but I kind of want to learn more about your brother. Is he in remission, or how's that going?
Yeah, so my brother's cancer-free. He's currently 19 years old.
Awesome.
He, at the age of 3, he was diagnosed with autism. So he's pretty nonverbal, low functioning, but he's got a big heart. He has this certain things that he loves. He loves to swim. He loves his iPad. He's got some YouTube videos that he loves. I think sometimes it's, when you talk about autism, there's this huge spectrum, like someone that might be super high functioning, and Louis typically falls on the lower functioning side, but he's a teddy bear. And, I just want to be there as a friend for him and to help him have the best life possible. And I think, my family's always been great about that and figuring out ways to just try to bring some joy in his life, because he's gone through what no kid should have to go through at the age of 1 or 3. So, he deserves to live an easy life.
Yeah. It sounds like you have a great family. Next family reunion or gathering, let me know. I'll be there.
You're welcome to join. We always say the more the merrier.
That's awesome. Kind of moving on to your role now with the national team. You've competed with the senior team for a few years now. What has your experience been like? And, in the Q&A, you talked a lot about Justine Wong-Arantes kind of taking you under her wing and just that relationship between you two. But what's your experience been like with the national team?
Yes. So my first summer in the gym was 2020. And that was a really bizarre summer. There were no competitions. And Jordan Poulter, Haley Washington, and Justine were all in the gym and explaining how bizarre of a summer it was, because it was 2v2. You couldn't have a certain amount of people on the court, and they were cleaning the balls every time we touched them. We were playing with masks, and the coaches were even wearing gloves. So that was such a weird time to start off in the gym, but also a really good chance to get to know some of the players on a deeper level, and really figure out what the team's all about. The following summer, I was just in there for a couple weeks, and I unfortunately tore my meniscus. That was definitely a bit of a bummer and a setback. But this past summer 2022 was really my first full summer with a team and having some opportunities to compete. But I just feel grateful and honored to play alongside women who are just so motivated and dedicated to the sport and are doing literally whatever it takes to pursue it at the highest level. And Justine specifically, has just been so welcoming and has taken me under her wing, I feel like. And we just have this really open dialogue along with the other people that share positions on the team about what do we need to do that's going to help us win. And I think that mentality among the team is really what's going to drive us to be successful down the line. And our goals are for Paris, to take home the gold, but or be on the podium. So we're just trying to figure out whatever it takes. And for me, it's been super fun to learn from Justine, because she's not only an incredible libero and athlete, but a truly amazing person who's one of the best teammates I've ever played with.
You mentioned, the goal is Paris, getting back on the podium. The women's program just had a historic Olympics, winning the first gold for the program ever. Obviously gold is the goal going into Paris, but what are some of those like little things, those little steps that you guys are taking to stay on top and stay that number one team that you guys are?
Yes, sometimes it's hard because when people go and play the professional seasons, everyone's around the world, literally, like Japan, Italy, Turkey, Brazil, some in the U.S. But figuring out ways to like stay connected through like Zoom calls or just WhatsApp, texting each other. And we have, I think, with Sue and Quest's help, like made a conscious effort to make sure that we are laying out those team goals for the summer and also creating personal goals and really staying on top of them and having a system where we check back in on those goals to make sure, we're taking those tangible steps to get closer to them. But we have had a couple Zoom calls. We try to meet like once a month so we can talk, see each other's faces. I think that's so much better than just sending a text message. So it's helpful to have those goals, team goals, to know what we're working towards, especially on those long overseas seasons where you're going to have your lows and your highs, but to come back to that goal is nice motivation.
Volleyball Nations League happens in the summer. It's I think Aaron said 6-week competition, and the rosters change every week or can change every week. But a little unique to this year is that we are hosting the women's finals in July in Arlington, Texas, Dallas, Texas, basically. I'm from Dallas originally. So yeah, outside of Dallas, but Arlington, Texas. And we don't know the rosters yet, so we don't know if you're going to be there or not. But for anyone who's in the area or maybe traveling to come watch, why should they want to come watch this event? It's not only, it's a finals too. It's not even just a leg of the VNL. It's a finals of the VNL. So why should they want to come watch this event?
They should want to come watch because you are literally watching world-class players, the best in the world at their craft, at their sport, and just the level of play and the IQ that these players have is so fun to watch. Just, whether it's people going all out on defense and making these crazy digs, or these setters putting up amazing balls for their hitters to just crank on, or attackers when they could crank on an attack, just being super smart and placing a tip right behind the block. Like the knowledge that these players have is unlike anything that, it is a higher level than anything that we've seen here in college volleyball. So to be able to see that next level, even for college players or youth kids to like aspire to be that way, I think is just huge. Especially, we're hosting world-class players, like I said, and you're not going to get that anywhere else. So it's just really cool to have that opportunity here in the U.S.
Yeah, the U.S. Women's program will be in that finals. They get a guaranteed bid into it, but like you said, it's going to be the best in the world. It could be Brazil there or Italy or we don't know yet, but it'll be the best in the world, and it's rare. You won't see that. No,
it's so rare. So take advantage of that opportunity.
Yeah, and another cool part of VNL that I've witnessed is just getting to meet the athletes too, getting to meet you and your teammates after the matches and spending some time just kind of talking and getting autographs or pictures or whatever. And, you can see how much that means to those young athletes. I'm sure you could probably think back to your young days where it would have been really cool to meet some of your heroes as well.
Yeah, just even having that conversation with them and just, I don't know, you want to see what you could be someday. Right. And like now that finals week is here in the U.S., like you get to see people compete on an international stage. Like the best from all over the world are coming to one spot to compete and play. It's just really cool.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that. I'll actually be there, so
that'd be awesome.
Looking forward to it. I've never been to a VNL finals too, so it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it would be a blast.
Yeah. Anything else before we let you go? Anything you'd like to share or talk about with the audience?
No, I feel like we covered so much.
We bounced around a lot.
Yeah. No, it's been a blast getting to chat with you. Great questions.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here and taking the time. for anyone who's listening who might have questions for you, or maybe just wants to follow your journey, where can they find you?
Yeah, my Instagram's just Morgan Hentz. And then I'm Morgan Hentz volleyball at gmail.com. If anyone ever wants to reach out and ask questions, sometimes I'm not the fastest, but I will get around to it. I'm always happy to answer questions and, just create conversations with people that I don't know.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Morgan.
Yeah, thank you.
Clarence, really missed you at the Women's National Team Open program this year. I know you were there last year with us. But yeah, another great weekend of what Karch calls Volleypalooza.
Volleypalooza. We gotta rerun our promo that we.
That's right.
Yeah, recorded there from last year. I don't miss getting hit in the face with volleyball. Thanks, Laura, for that one. But yeah, you kept saying we. I was like, I miss that interview, and I'm sad about it. So that's a lot of, you brought it up, not me. But yeah, I really missed a really good interview. So I'm glad you guys were able to take the time and just touch base. And from what I've heard, it really seems like it drew a lot of attention around the atmosphere that was there too. Like something just unique little twist there that doesn't really happen too often.
Yeah, last year we had Jordan Thompson on the ground there for the Women's National Team Open program. That was awesome to have her there. And then, of course, this year we had Morgan Hentz from the Libero from the U.S. Women's National Team, as well as for a little more than half the day, maybe the full day, Jordan Poulter was also there. USA setter, of course, Olympic gold medalist. Jordan Poulter was there. A bunch of other great, alums too. Cassidy Lickman was there representing Athletes Unlimited. We had Danielle Scott there as well with League One Volleyball now. And so many more, coaches. And I think there are a few other alums. It's escaping me right now. Apologize for that. But just a great, Volleypalooza, volley atmosphere. And just awesome to see the athletes just take full advantage of those info sessions that they had with the professional leagues that are coming up. Of course, that's Athletes Unlimited, League One Volleyball, and Pro Volleyball Federation. They all had presentations there for the athletes to come in and watch and ask questions. Just about, the upcoming pro seasons. Of course, Athletes Unlimited is ongoing right now. It's up and going. Pro Volleyball Federation and League One Volleyball will begin in 2024. So they were there, talking about just the early stages of where they're at right now, and the excitement of bringing more professional volleyball to the U.S. and those opportunities to the U.S.
Question for you.
Mm-hmm.
So I know you talked about a lot of the pro federations there, and they gave a lot of their, kind of elevator pitches, speeches, and kind of introduced, what they have to offer there. That aside, what was the most distinctive difference from this year's open program compared to last year's?
Okay. Good question. Well, for us, for our team, we focused more on just creating content around the athletes. So I don't know if you, Curtis says running baller TV, or Lara says running baller TV. So yeah, we became streamers at the event and helped run Baller TV. I would say that was majority Curtis and Lara running Baller TV, taking the reins there. But we were able to create a lot of great content around the athletes and, captured photos for the SIDs, for their athletes that were represented there. And I think that was just a good way to make the event, make the experience a little bit more special for the athletes. Capture that real time content. I don't know if you saw the mascot TikTok that I created while on the ground there. Were you able to catch that on social media?
The mascot TikTok? No. Am I behind on the talks? I'm behind on the TikToks?
Behind on the talks.
Behind on the talks.
Yeah, you gotta check it out. I walked around campus and was asking athletes what sound their school mascot makes. And it was incredible. I thought I was gonna get a lot of weird looks and No, I'm not doing that. That's dumb. But no, everybody got into it. There were some really funny ones. Of course, I think one of the first ones was Pepperdine, and they did the waves like.
So cool.
Of course, the best one. I had. Well, no, did I have the mini mic? Not for that one. I did run around with the mini mic though, for some other interviews. But yeah, definitely check that out. I'll give you a quick spoiler here though for one of them. Shout out to Elia Rubin from Stanford. She just a great sport. Of course. What sound
with just a great sport?
What sound does your school mascot made? She was just stumped and then did the tree and just did the tree blowing in the wind there. It was incredible. It was the star of the video for sure. But yeah, if you haven't checked that out, go check that out. It was a lot of fun.
All right. Oh man, missed a lot.
Of course, one of the biggest things missing from this year was you. So a lot of people were talking about that on the ground. I think Karch even brought it up too. Really, really missed having you there, and it really it was noticed. It was noticed for sure.
All right, I'm gonna ask an honest, sort of dumb question. Were you being serious there? Because if you were not, your poker face is through the roof. You need to.
Oh, completely serious. Yeah.
I still don't know if it makes sense. Okay.
No, it was a great time. It was a great time. But getting back to what Morgan was talking about, one of the things that stood out to me was, of course, one of the big things about this year versus last year was having those pro volleyball organizations here, three of them, Athletes Unlimited, Pro Volleyball Federation, and League One Volleyball, here talking to the athletes, and they were here all weekend, or they were there all weekend too. Answering questions. They were there kind of in a scouting capacity too, I think, and just trying to build their leagues, as well. But having them there for the athletes to pick their brains and, understand more about the opportunities to play in the U.S. And one of the things that Morgan brought up was she started her career playing professionally overseas. She had a pretty significant injury that kind of led her to come back to the U.S. and do rehab and stuff. But she found out pretty quickly that playing overseas wasn't for her. She wanted to be close to family. She wanted to stay close to family. And Athletes Unlimited was kind of getting off the ground at the time, and was able to join the Athletes Unlimited League and stay in the U.S., stay close to home. And I think that's just a great example of what the opportunities are out there for the athletes now. And Morgan able to, stay close or stay close enough to be able to make a couple hours trip or a few hour flight to get back home was just huge for her, and it changed her life as a professional athlete. And I think that was something that stuck for me talking to her, because I wasn't sure what her reasoning was for not going overseas, or not going back overseas, and that was one of them. And I think a lot of athletes now have that opportunity to do that, especially coming up in next year when those two other leagues start.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point that she brought up, and I'm glad you brought it up in addition to the interview. But I think that's just always going to be a trending topic, whether it's, trending in a good way or trending in, the harsh reality way of things. It's just, is overseas volleyball, for, you as an athlete. And, so many of our national team players in our pipeline, and just, anyone who goes over to try it, has their own unique story regarding it. We had Jordan Thompson's story about it last year, and she even spoke to, a lot of the groups there, about her experience, about, what she didn't know, how that hurt, and how she was able to, recover from that, and, make it better for herself there. And then now, you're hearing this from Morgan, along with the addition of a lot of these, pro volleyball leagues and federations that are, available in the United States. It's just, very interesting conversation. I wonder if we should have like a 2, 3, 4-part series on it kind of moving forward. Just, what is your take? If you're playing in this part of Europe and you're playing here and you're playing here, what are all your takeaways, and what could you have done to make this experience better? What would you change if you could, or what wouldn't you change? I think that'd be a really, really, really fun, not a fun, but a very informational, thing to cover in a lot of detail moving forward. But just kind of throwing it out there.
Yeah, I think we've kind of touched on that a little bit.
We touched on it
sporadically through some other episodes. One that just came up to me was came to my head was our Cassie Lickman episode too, where she obviously now has been playing in Athletes Unlimited, but her whole career was overseas, and she just is so excited for the opportunity to have that opportunity for future athletes and the future generations to be able to play in the U.S. and grow volleyball here in the States, which is just super exciting. But yeah, I think that was episode 29. If you want to hear
look at you,
about, I looked it up earlier. I hope I got it. But yeah, if you want, it's 29. It's 29.
Yeah.
I got
and there's a couple other people who talked about it too, but I'm not going to episode drop like Stephen. My memory's not that good. But when I remember, I'm like, dang, I should have dropped it here. But let's go. Let's dive. Let's take a full dive in. Let's see.
I wanted to look that up earlier because I wanted to drop that in, since we are bringing up Athletes Unlimited and the other leagues as well. But if you wanted to learn more about Athletes Unlimited, you can hear Cassidy talk all about that in episode 29. So there you go.
Oh yeah, I emailed Cassidy about Athletes Unlimited and a certain collaboration I'm looking for. So Cassidy, if you're listening to this podcast, check your emails. Hint. Just kind of going from there. But if I'm being honest, it really seems like I missed a great conversation. But it was a conversation I needed to have. It was, great, engaging, very personable too on top of that. So really, really, really big thank you again, to Morgan, for sitting down with our podcast group here. Sorry I missed it. But if you aren't familiar with the Women's National Team Open program, again, like Stephen mentioned before, Karch calls it Volleypalooza. There was just so many great and talented athletes, that participate, essentially showing off their skills to the women's national team coaching staff in 2022. Like Stephen mentioned, we had Jordan Thompson there talking with athletes, and Morgan Hentz took the reins this year, and we'll see who we're able to pull if I'm able to be there in 2023. And
maybe we'll get Clarence Hughes there. See, he's got a tight schedule.
Yeah, but again, thank you so much, Morgan, for taking the time. I'm sad I missed the interview for sure. Fun fact too, whenever I show my girls videos of just what a perfect serve receive looks like, what a perfect defensive positioning, and what movement to the ball looks like, I pull up Morgan Hentz videos, and that was something I was wanting to kind of hint at and share if I was able to do the interview. But yeah, I'm like, look, this is what it looks like. They're like, wow. I'm like, yes.
Dang, you should have told me that. I would have had her do like a little shout out video to your club.
It totally slipped my mind. But yeah,
that would have been fun. Next time. Cool. Let's keep moving on with kind of the wrap up here. We're going to I'll bring up some of the upcoming events here, starting with on the junior side of things. We have the Mid-East Girls National Qualifier Week 2, March 24th through the 26th in St. Louis, Missouri. The 2023 Northern Lights Girls National Qualifier Week 3, March 24th through the 26th in Minneapolis, Minnesota. The Pacific Northwest Girls 18s National Qualifier, March 25th through the 27th in Spokane, Washington. The Pacific Northwest Girls National Qualifier Week 1, March 25th through the 27th in Spokane, Washington. The Big South Girls National Qualifier, March 31st through April 2nd in Atlanta, Georgia. The Mid-East National Qualifier Week 3, March 31st through April 2nd in St. Louis, Missouri. The Pacific Northwest Girls National Qualifier Week 2, March 31st through April 2nd in Spokane, Washington. A lot happening in Washington.
Oh, yeah.
Coming weeks. Big volleyball coming to Washington. The Lone Star Girls National Qualifier Week 1, April 1st through the 3rd in Dallas, Texas. The Northeast Girls National Qualifier, Week 2, April 1st through the 3rd in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The Show Me Girls National Qualifier, Weekend 1, April 1st through the 3rd in Kansas City, Missouri. And the GCVA April BRQ, April 1st in League City, Texas. Good luck to everyone competing in those events. Shout out to all our USAB regions setting up and hosting those events. More details on all upcoming events can be found at usavolleyball.org.
Fun fact. I'll give you a little break there before you go on to the pro side of things with fun
Thank you.
My 16th and 17th will be at the 2023 Big South National Qualifier. I'm so excited to go to Atlanta. It'll be, I think, 3.5 quick days in Atlanta, get a day back in Colorado Springs, and then Salt Lake City Showdown, which is not awesome because we're not there on the dates yet. But, oh yeah, a whole lot of traveling coming up.
We're going to have to do another Where in the World is Clarence Hughes series.
Or Where in the World, depends on how you say it. See?
There you go.
Good or bad thing.
Few events coming up on the pro side of things. We have the Beach Pro Tour Elite 16 in Tepic, Mexico. That's March 26th or 22nd through the 26th. The Beach Pro Tour Futures, man, here we go. Coolangatta Beach, March 29th through April 2nd in Coolangatta Beach, Australia. I think I nailed it, but we'll check that on the back end.
You nailed it. We'll see.
Beach Pro Tour Futures in Tahiti, Tahiti, April 4th through the 8th in Tahiti, French Polynesia. That's it on the future side of things, on the pro side of things. It's just one of those days. It's one of those days.
All jacked up on that coffee, man.
That's right.
Can't even see straight.
Hit us with some club reminders.
I'll do that. But then before that, you should go to some really cool places, man. Like let's just quit the podcast.
How do we just
become beach athletes? Let's just train. I know we're behind. We're really behind, but we got to get in shape. But let's get our sand legs.
We just do a podcast tour alongside the Beach Pro Tour.
You're right.
I don't know about that. Yeah,
we're doing that. All right. While Stephen brainstorms that, just on to a few more club event reminders. Registration is actually now closed for our Salt Lake City Showdown. This is our last national qualifier that USA Volleyball National office is specifically hosts. It is one of those days, Stephen. Wow. But if you are looking to get into the Salt Lake City Showdown, you must email events@usav.org so we can add you into the AES system so you can get your registration requirements completed. Registration is still open for our Open National Championship, like we mentioned. In the beginning of this episode, registration is now open through, I believe, April 27th. Event dates are May 26th through the 31st. You do not want to miss opens this year. I'm warning you. That is your first and probably more warnings to come because I want as many people to come to the tournament as possible. We try to get Steven there. You turned us down. It's okay. But, it's going to be a good time in Dallas no matter what. I had to rub it in. You're muted. You're muted, man. I think you're muted, Steven. I can't hear you.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah. So you said a whole paragraph. Heard not a word.
Nice. Nice. Professionals here. We're professionals. That's okay to rub it in. That's fine. Y'all are going to have a great time. And if you need any recommendations in Dallas, let me know.
Always.
But here we go. Remember, listeners, you can rate and review, share with friends, family, teammates. It really, really helps this podcast grow and reach new listeners. And now you can check out our video episodes on our YouTube channel, the USA Volleyball YouTube channel, and our website, usavolleyball.org. Thank you so much for your continued support. Do you know a club that should be featured, maybe an athlete or a coach that has a great story you'd like us to share? You can email us at the usabshow@usab.org. Leave us feedback. Let us know how we're doing. Let us know about any future topics you'd like us to talk about. We want to hear from you. And until next time, you are listening to the USA Volleyball Show, the official podcast of USA Volleyball.
And my cameo, and we're out.
This has been the USA Volleyball Show with Clarence Hughes and Stephen Munson, produced by Curtis Ward. Our content producer is Laura Fawcett. Our marketing lead is Bree Jaycox. If you enjoyed this podcast, be sure to rate and review. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the USA Volleyball Show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts.